2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so back in high school when I was a sophomore, I realized I needed to learn how to tie a tie. Whether you're a guy or a girl or whatever, everyone needs to know how to tie a tie. And so back in sophomore year, I finally buckled down and taught myself because I realized my father couldn't tie a tie for me for the rest of my life. And so what I'm going to talk about today is, well, how to tie a tie. And so first of all, what we're going to talk about is you need to know how to match your tie. Then you're going to need to know how to tie your tie. And then finally, you're just going to need to check your tie and make sure that, your tie ends up looking good. And so, as I mentioned before, I learned about this back in sophomore year. So this is, I saw this video online way back then, and this is specifically the 4-in-hand knot of tying a tie. So what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to button your tie, or button your shirt all the way up to the top, including the top button, and then you're going to want to pop your collar. That'll make things a lot easier. And then what you do is you take your tie as such and you lay it over your shoulders as such. Now I lay it in this orientation because I am right-handed. If you're left-handed, it probably works the same as this way, but I don't know that way, so I'm going to do it the way I know. So you're going to lay your tie as such over your body. Then you're going to want the fat end to be down on your right side and the skinny end to be on your left side, with the tip of it being near your belly button. Then what you want that because if the tip is too far down, then when you actually tie your tie, this will be way up here. You don't want that. And if your tip is way up here, then the tie will be hanging really low. You don't want that either. So you want it at about belly button level. Then what you do is you take this part in your right hand and this part in your left hand, and you put it over each other with the right going on top of the skinny part. Then you take the long one and you wrap it behind the skinny one, and then you take the long one still and you flip it over. Now you don't have to do as much gusto as I do, that's the way I like to do it. Then you take this longer, fatter portion and you pull it up through this neck loop right over by, well, your neck. Then you can see it already starts to look almost like a tie. Now what you've created here is a little loop, and what you're going to do is you're going to take this part of the tie and you're going to force it through that little loop. So you do that, and then most ties have a little strap back here for the skinny portion to go in. That is to keep it out of the way, otherwise you have a tie that looks like this. Yeah. So what you do is you take it and you put it through here, and then you start to tighten your tie. Then, once you do that, you go ahead and put your collar down, and you go ahead and check yourself in the mirror. Check yourself. If you don't have a mirror, then you can use a family member or a friend or whoever to just go ahead and check yourself. Of course, the simplest method is to check in the mirror. Now, I hope I tied this correctly because I did it without a mirror, so I hope it looks decent enough. And I just realized I forgot to mention about matching attire, so we're going to quickly jump back to that. So when you match your attire, you want to make sure that your tie complements your clothing. So I'm wearing a plain white shirt, so I can use just about any kind of tie. But generally speaking, when you're wearing a solid color shirt, you're going to want to wear, maybe like a pattern tie as such. Or if you have a pattern shirt, then you want a solid color tie. And then, so that is the general basics on tying a tie. So yet again, when you tie a tie, you want to make sure that your attire matches, or that your tie matches your attire. Then you want to make sure that you actually can tie your tie correctly. Most important part, yet again, the easiest that I have found that I've been using since I was a sophomore in high school is the 4-in-hand knot. It's just super simple, super easy. It looks clean and it gets the work done every time. And finally, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check your tie. Make sure your tie looks good, whether that is with a family member or whether that is in the mirror. Now, there are other options to tying your tie out there, such as the Eldridge and the Trinity knot. I personally do like those, but I have never actually gotten them to work. That is why I've taught you the 4-in-hand style instead. And so Well, now you know how to tie a tie, so I want to say congrats on learning how to tie a tie. I want to say enjoy, showing your friends and family how dapper you are now.